right. Okay. Welcome in, ladies. So as you're coming in, you can put where you guys are joining from in the chat. We got 1 minute. Oh my God, it's 2:59 already. We're definitely going to start like right at 3 just to kind of respect everybody's time. And bear with me, guys. I have like 50 laptops up just trying to make sure I can control everything. Okay, I see we got Rochester, New York, Georgia, Ohio. Very nice, very nice. Michigan. This is so. I'm so glad you guys were able to join. Oh my God. Okay, let me see. People asking for the link at the last minute. Okay, it is 3. It is 3. Give me 1 second. Okay, guys, let's get started. Okay, we have a hand raise. Let me turn the music off now so we can get started. Yes, ma'am. I see we have a hand raise. I think it was Harriet.
Yes.
You guys can
Don't worry about it.
Okay. Okay. Well, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Oh, did you have a question, Miss Harriet?
No, I didn't. I'm just trying to figure out how to use this.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah. How we'll do it, just to, with the flow of everything, if you guys want to press the raise your hand thing at the bottom to speak, but this is going to be an open conversation panel where you guys can definitely like chime in because we're going to make the conversation and there's different topics. So really quickly, I answered Miss when she asked me was streaming. It's not, I don't know how to stream yet. I'm not that tech savvy, but you guys feel free. It will be recorded so that you guys can share it afterwards though. Let's see. So Houston is in the building, Canada, Ontario, originally from there, but you're in Michigan, Texas, the DFW area, Honolulu, Hawaii, by way of Maryland and Virginia. Okay, and my dad is here. Of course, I have my family members here in Houston, New Orleans. Great. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started, guys. And we have like about 16 people. So I was kind of worried, like, I hope we have enough time for like everybody to get enough like time to talk about their book. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So why Jazz and Prose? So my name is Sai. I have a whole slide, but I wanted to create this space to give creatives a chance to shine, okay, to get their work out there. I know sometimes when I first my first book like years ago, it was very hard for me to find a place to like just have a hub to talk about everything. So that's kind of one reason why I started this. So just make sure you're following us everywhere. We'll have more of these if you're interested in doing like one-on-one. I have published some articles for some people that are in here as well. Okay, so just the agenda. So this is like the flow of how we're going to do it. I'll start with like the welcome and housekeeping. Then we'll do like brief little introductions. If you guys want to unmute, tell us your name and, a little bit about yourself. Then we'll go into the topic. So I broke them up like inspiration and motivation, obstacles and challenges, publishing, 101, and then marketing. Then we'll have like a Q&A. I forgot to put up there one of the most important parts where you guys get to talk, but that will be right after the Q&A, and then we'll have the closing. So just a little welcome. Thank you guys for joining us. The title of this webinar is Women Who Write, a Candid Conversation on the Journey to Publishing. We're so excited that all of you guys could be here today. So this webinar is specifically about like sharing your experiences and the insights on journeys all the way, like from the idea all the way to being published. So even if you're not published yet, this is still a great opportunity for you guys to get information. Okay, so I have my notebook. Hopefully you guys have your notebooks because I want to be able to learn from this as well. I don't have all the answers. That's why we're here together. Okay, just a couple of quick housekeeping reminders. If we're not talking, let's just be on mute so that we can minimize the background noise. We want to be present, engaged. We're making this conversation, guys. Of course, we're going to be respectful and support each other. This is a positive space for encouragement. If you're not comfortable with your cameras on, you can definitely turn them off. That's totally fine. And then, like I said, I do have little timers once we get to the actual topic so that we can stay on task. And of course, we're going to have our spotlight moment at the end to give you guys a chance to talk about your stuff specifically. Phew, there's a lot of talking. Now, I am a teacher, but virtual teaching, like back in COVID, it's been a while. So please bear with me. Let me catch my breath just for a second. Any questions so far? Okay. Chance to breathe. Okay. So a little bit about me. My name is Sai. So I created Jazz and Prose literally this year. I'm a mother, writer. I'm the CEO of this brand. I have other brands as well that I've started. I'm always creating different things. I have about 10 books that I've published, from ebooks to paperbacks, nonfiction children's books, and educational workbooks. I have a work in progress that I've been working on for like over 10 years. It's a mystery thriller. And then my goal for that is to get it like streaming on like Netflix or something like that, specifically with Tyler Perry. So Tyler, if you're watching this, I really want to work with you. I'm a creative, so Jazz and Prose is not only for writing, it's anything creative, because as a creative person, I was like, well, I want to do music. I want to do this. So this is just like for all that. Yes, Miss Mormon YouTube. So this is just a platform to get all of that out of my system and to help other people as well. I'm also a teacher. It's a reading teacher. So I'm always dealing with books and reading and writing. So I am lit all the time. That is a pun intended for literature. Okay. So we're gonna have a quick icebreaker. And let me stop the timer. But the icebreaker is if your book had a theme song. So if you have to choose a song to represent your book, what would that be? Okay, so go ahead and put that in the chat. I'm going to give us a minute. And then after that minute, I'll let you guys kind of share out what you put for your response. So I'm going to start this back up. Give me 1 second. Okay, and some of these songs I might not know, so we're definitely going to have some explanations here. Let me put mine in the chat. Cool. Let's see. We have about 20 seconds. Hearts on deck. Okay, some of these songs are okay. That's what Gnarls Barkley. Know that. Okay, 3 seconds. Oh my God. Okay. All right, let me stop the music here. All right, so does anybody want to unmute and share why they chose that song? You can just go ahead and if you want to do the raise your hand feature, that's fine. Or if you want to just unmute. Don't be shy, guys. Remember,
Hi, my name is Tiffany. I'm so happy to be with you all. Well, I chose Hearts on Deck by Ella May because my book, Someone Like You, is basically like romance is my niche. And so, with my characters, Kennedy, and, figuring out her love life situation, trying to figure out, okay, if this new guy is the one for her, I feel like her song is like, you got one shot and Hearts on Deck. My heart is all on deck. So it's either here or now. So that's why I chose that song.
Okay, nice. And I'm gonna have to go and listen to that on Apple Music again so I can. But okay, I like that. Hearts on Deck. Okay. Anybody else want to unmute? We have a couple in here.
Hello, this is Harriet. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. One of my theme songs would be a song called Heavy Love by Mally Music. That is my favorite song when I had a very difficult pregnancy, and that song really got me through with a premature baby. And so in my novel, by this time next year, my character Secret also has a premature baby, and it's love, loss, family, faith, passion. It's all of the stuff I'm in the South, so like you, I'm here in Texas, and good country eating, good food, good faith, those strong family bonds. That the song just covers all of it. So that's what I would choose as my theme song.
Okay, nice, nice. Let's do one more, guys. Miss Wynn, I think you have your hand raised.
Yeah, okay. So I picked Tupac, Keep Your Head Up, would be my theme song for my book called Shut Up and Let Me Cry. And really, the book is about breaking free from cliches, but it's also about emotional healing, encouragement, and just giving another perspective for how we can help people who are grieving. And so I felt like that was a perfect one. On that one's safe, but another one might be can I cuss in here?
Go ahead. It's
Okay,
right.
so another one might be Little Boosie, Set This Bitch Off. And so that's just
okay.
That might be another one too for my book, Shut Up and Let Me Cry. And so
Okay, so we have a lot of themes in there. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that. Okay, they have some really good ones in the chat too, guys. And feel free when we have our thing at the end to go into more detail. Okay, so Dance with the Devil by Immortal Technique. Okay, all right. Black Mermaid by I know that song, that Black Mermaid. I've heard that. It's a really pretty song. Okay, now in this time we can, if you guys want to unmute, and if we can keep it brief, okay, just unmute and you guys can tell us like your name, who you are, where you're from, and then we'll start getting into the topic. So I'll just let you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves. Just a little brief introduction.
I'll go. I'm Tiffany Flowers Towns, and I am an author of 2 romance novels, 3 children's books, and a women's devotional. So I've been busy, and I have a couple other projects coming out this year. So just happy to be in the space with the fellow writers and hope to gain some information going forward.
Absolutely.
Good morning. I'm Tina Phillips. So to introduce myself, so I've published my first book released in February. So I'm newly released, Revenge of a Heartbreak, and it's been a journey, and for me to be able to write was a healing process, and it's a great experience. And I'm grateful to be a part of this group today on this panel today. So I expect to learn as well as share information. So I'm excited.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, my
Hi,
name's
y'all.
Tiffany. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tiffany.
Hi, y'all. I'm the other Tiffany. I'm the weirdo here. I do mostly paranormal and urban fantasy. I got 1 romantic comedy. I got I think it's about 10 books out now, something like that. I'm glad to see so many of us on the screen right now. Makes me so happy. Last week I went to an event and the whole town frightened. Yeah. But it's been a journey. It's been fun, and it ain't paying all the bills yet, but at least it's paying some of them. So I'll go from that. Nice to meet
Not
you.
yet. Not yet. That's the key.
Mm-hmm.
Epiphany, I know you were.
Yes. Okay. So yes, my name's Epiphany Hightower. I currently live in Georgia. I've written 3 books so far. 1 book came out this February. It's a Kindle ebook. It's me and 2 other authors about. It's called Perspective on Passion, and it's just our own, like how we feel, how we love, and things like that. And I started writing. I published Someone Like You back in 2023, I think. And so from that point on, I've just been writing ever since. And I was published in a magazine with my Love on Fire. Yeah. So yeah, so I'm happy to be here with you all, beautiful ladies. And yeah. So,
I love that. Love that. Okay.
Okay, I'll go. My name is Jamia Johnson. Today, I've just released my book today, so it's my first book. It's
Good.
very excited. I'm so grateful to be here with you ladies. And like Tina said, writing was just really healing for me. So it took me on a journey. I've always loved to write. I started a nonfiction and then I never released it. And just jumping back into it and doing my devotional was just so healing. So I'm happy to just be among you ladies who have 10 books and, take it all in and learn. Just grateful for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Congratulations, Jamia. We love
Thank you so much.
Mm.
Somebody had their hand raised. I don't know who it was. I think it was a Tiffany or I'm not sure.
That was me. I hit it by mistake. I don't know what I'm doing. So
Okay. Okay.
Me neither.
Okay. Landa Cole, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, my sister?
Hello, my name is Landa. I am Sais's sister, but I'm gonna let my daughter Alana talk because she has something to say.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Alana, and before I start talking, I'm gonna give a shout out to my auntie for giving me this coloring book.
That was not planned, by the way. That was not planned. But go ahead. Thank you.
And so really, I haven't published any books yet, but I wanted to start publishing books to be more successful in life. So.
Love it. Thank you. She's so sweet. Thank you so much.
I would like to go. This is Danielle.
Hi,
Thank you,
Danielle.
Sai, for inviting me. I'm so inspired by all of you ladies publishing your books. I recently self-published a poetry book. And I'm Danielle, and I'm currently in New York City.
Okay. Nice. We're glad to have you here, Danielle.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to all the knowledge. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, Miss Kiera, because I mispronounced your last name the first time, so I'm not gonna say, but you can go ahead. Oh, your mic won't turn on. Did you get it to work, Kiera? I'm not sure. No. Okay. Well, also you can put it in the chat. Make sure y'all are dropping y'all stuff in the chat. Save the stuff from the chat. That's a great place to put stuff too. So maybe Christina has her hand raised. Yeah, let's do the hand raise so I can kind of keep track of who's next. So Christina.
Hi everybody. I'm Christina. Christina Cizel is actually my pen name. And I'm originally from Michigan. And I'm an aspiring indie author working on my first series, which is a fantasy romance inspired by the 6 Wives of Henry VIII, but they're all melanated and black, so Black Girl Magic. And it'll be my first series, and I'm really excited to be here. So thank you.
Oh, very interesting. Love it, Christina. Okay, Harriet, and then Katira.
I'm Harriet Patrick Barron. I'm in East Texas. Gorgeous day. I'm so proud of all of y'all and for your books, and we are really helping each other today. I really believe that. We're going to encourage each other, and let's get this party started. We're going to do it.
Amen. Love that. Okay, Miss Polland.
Hello, everyone. My name is Katira Poland. I am a published author. I published my first book in 2017. I also published a book of poetry, and I've been in a few anthologies. I am also an author. Editor. I started my editing business in 2017, so I work with primarily other Black authors to help them edit their stories and get them ready to be published, making sure that our voices are upheld. And I know a lot of us have experienced editors who whitewash. So I want to be a part of solving that problem and be a part of the solution to that. So I've always loved reading and writing, and I'm just honored to be able to work with other authors and that I'm able to also be an author myself. And thank you so much, Sai, for hosting this.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm inspired by you guys already. Thank you guys. Let's see. Hey, Miss Little. I saw yours.
Okay, yep. My name is Quasia. I'm an author. I've been writing books since 2019. I'm signed with Major Key Publishing. I've been with 2 publishers so far, and I have 10 books, and hopefully I can have a few more by the end of the year.
By the end of the year, I want to be like you, Miss Little. Okay. I don't know who was next. Harriet, Harriet, you already went, right? I don't know.
Yes. I
Okay.
went.
Pink Pansy Publishing. Let's let you go.
Okay, hi. So my name is Lauren, and I am a self-published author. I have one book currently published. I have another one coming out in October, Halloween specifically. And I have a work in progress, which is it's nonfiction. It's a distribution guide for Black indie authors. Not only to find other Black-owned booksellers, but also to help them be strategic and be better distribution partners for these sellers. So I consider myself a dark Christian fiction writer, which means just darker genres, tropes, and themes written from a Christian spirituality perspective.
Okay, interesting. Let's have ES.
Hello, everyone. My name is Elizabeth, but I go by EJ Jordan. I write travel fiction with the focus on Black characters, and I'm working on my first series now that takes place in South Korea.
Okay, interesting. Okay. Let me see. Miss Kiera, are you able to unmute? I don't know if she is. If not, Miss Wynn, you can go. Miss Wynn, you can go ahead.
Okay. Hi, my name is Aurelia Wynn. I go by Miss Wynn, just it's easier for people to say and remember. I'm an author and publisher. I've published 26 books to date. I've been doing this though for 11 years, in my own business for 7 years. My next book, Shut Up and Let Me Cry, will be my first real, I call it my first real book. I do write children's books, author reference books, poetry, that kind of thing. And yeah, I'm really excited to be here to meet a lot of you. I'm familiar with Katira Poland. We work together as well. And so thank you, Sai, for putting this together. I'm really excited.
Absolutely. Miss Kiera, is yours working now? Okay.
I am back on, yes. So my name is Kiara Correa. I am originally, back and forth between Canada and the States as a dual citizen. I first published in 2023 as a fellow educator. I want to inspire kids, and so I started a series on careers. I'm inspired by my little guy, who's also the main character.
Oh, I love that. Nice.
So I am self-published. I have many written, 3 published, and I'm looking forward to learning from you ladies and growing the series to reach kids everywhere. And I love what you guys are doing, all you wonderful ladies, and I look forward to meeting up with some of you. I saw someone was also in Detroit, so never know where the Lord will take us.
Absolutely. Please connect with everybody, guys. Put y'all stuff in the chat. Okay, Alondria Hubbard. See your hand raised.
Oh, hi. My computer froze for a second. Nice to meet you all. My name is Alondria Hubbard. I am born and raised in Alabama, so you might hear a little bit of an accent, but I am currently in Jersey. By day, I'm a PhD student, but in my free time, I've enjoyed writing just for fun, but recently got the bug to see if I can get anything out there published, primarily do fantasy, romance, and just have different ideas, putting them onto page. But I'm already inspired by you ladies already. Thank you for having me.
Okay, nice. Yes. Do we have anybody else before we go? And remember, there'll be a time at the end for everybody to really get into their books after. All right, well, let's go to the next slide. What do I have next? So here are the topics, guys. So we're going to start with inspiration and motivation. And I kind of just put 8 minutes for each, just so that we could kind of get through and give people time. I don't want to go over over 4:30 just to respect you guys' time. So inspiration and motivation, then we'll go to obstacles and challenges, and then publishing 101, marketing, then a Q&A, and then we'll have our author spotlight. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. So there's different questions here. If you guys want to just unmute and answer one, that's fine. If you are not comfortable with like talking, you can also put your answers in the chat. Please utilize the chat, guys, and you can also save like everything that's in the chat. So the first one is inspiration and motivation. The first bullet point is, what inspired you to start writing? What inspired you to start writing? Does anybody want to go first?
I'll go. What inspired me was my son and the lack of career options that children are exposed to. We all know of like the basic ones, but there's thousands of positions that kids just don't know. And, the more we pull into our kids and foster our children, the better that they'll be. They are the next generation. They are the future. And so just giving them as much information and resources that they could possibly have.
I love that. And yeah, they definitely do need that. Tiffany and then Landa. I'm going to start the timer too.
I could what inspired me because all I read is like paranormal and all that crazy stuff, but it wasn't hardly no black folks in it. It was like, you might have, they did like this one black person, or that one black person was there and their part was like just for one chapter, or then until I read like L.A. Banks, and that was like a whole Neteru series, and I fell in love, and so that was a big inspiration right there.
Okay, and I'm curious to see what's in them books, because usually in the scary movies, we get out of there kind of quick. So
I know, right?
Yeah, I want to see how that plays out for sure. Okay, Landa.
Hi again. So I wanted to talk about how what inspired me to start writing a book about me and my hair growth journey, to help other people and inspire people to help with their hair grow journey.
Okay, love it. And that is honestly like a really big topic in our community. So that is definitely needed. We love that. And you're so young, so that's great you're starting early. I love that, Alana. Let's see. I was inspired by my college professor after a creative writing assignment. I think that is so important as educators, Miss Kiera. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. I know, like when I was in school, I had a teacher who spoke life into me, and that really gave me the confidence to keep writing. So I think that is so important that this person said that they were inspired by a college professor. Anyone else want to talk about their inspiration before we go to the next bullet? ESM.
For me, I lived overseas for a few years, and coming back, returning home just hit with like lots of nostalgia, thinking about all of my experiences and things that I encountered overseas. And coming back during COVID, I also had a lot of free time, so I started reading more, and I wanted to read books about like travel fiction about our experiences for me, because I just wanted to reminisce on the things that I had seen overseas, and I didn't see much of us reflected in what I was reading. So I decided to start series dedicated to that.
And that is a really good way to capture that time for you. I love that. I really like that. And guys, feel free to like chime in if you have questions about what that person is saying, or comment so that we can do that. Miss Pink Pansy, do you have a question for ESM before I go to Tina, or are you about to share your experience? Okay, so Tina, you can go ahead, and then Pink Pansy.
All right, so I just want to share, for me personally, what inspired me to actually write the book is I had a history of journaling. So probably in my high school years is when I started journaling daily. However, in adulthood and real world adulting, I had gotten away from it in many, many ways. I had gotten away from it, being consistent journaling. And then when I went through a tumultuous time, I had gotten back to journaling, but it wasn't the outlet that I needed at the time. And for me to write the book that I did, it was suggested to a friend, well, why don't you write it out? Because of course, when you're going through stuff, you may speak to those confidants in your life, and that's what I had been doing. And so, why don't you write? Why don't you put it down to get all your thoughts out there? The way that most people, when we're dealing with things, we ruminate over and over. We ruminate the issue, the questions, what happened when, we do the timeline and the mapping. So actually, that's what inspired me to actually write and chapter it out. And then it evolved so well, and it was suggested, well, why don't you this is like it was literally said, this is like a Lifetime movie, is what you've experienced. So,
Yeah.
and actually in doing that, that's how the flow became. And granted, because of being educated and having the knowledge of how to write, in school and things like that, in studying for school. So writing was never an issue for me in that realm. But I can say the motivation and the inspiration came out of turmoil, the inspiration of writing and the motivation to get to the end goal of publication. I believe it came from the place where a lot of Black women, we choose to be enough. We tick things off. Say, well, you know what, this is the situation. Well, and I know there's like a running joke in society right now that Black women, when they go through stuff, they say, well, let's go back and get a degree. So there is some go back and let's achieve something else. So that for me was a lot of the inspiration and motivation to get from the point A to the publication.
Yeah. And I hate that a lot of us have had a Lifetime movie experience, but it's true. A lot of us have. I've had it before. Pink Pansy Publishing.
Okay, so I've always just loved making up stories, even when I was like a really, really small child. And when I was in school, I always jumped at the opportunity to write a short story anytime any teacher told me, oh, well, you have to write a story about this. That was the best day of my life coming up in elementary school. But I decided to return to publishing and self-publishing the day that I had my youngest son. I just wanted to be the best version of myself. I'd always known that I wanted to be an author. I just kind of denied myself that. I didn't think it was viable, didn't think I would make enough money. But when I had him though, I just wanted my mental health to be better. So I just decided to stop denying myself and just take a leap of faith on myself.
Yeah, and we have to do that. I know for me, the first like little book that I put out was a coloring book, and it was for my daughter at the time. This was like 2011, 2012, something like that. They didn't really have a lot of brown girls for like characters. So like, and I was like, oh my God, as a parent, I need to have something to show her so she can see a reflection of herself with positive images. And so that was like a big thing for me. And it kind of really took off with that brand. It's called Brilliant Beautiful Me, but I kind of put it down and did some other things. But yeah. Now this timer thing is not working. Do we want to answer any other questions? Does anybody want to answer any of the other questions on this bullet point about inspiration and motivation? Maybe let's see. What about literary influences? Who do you guys have a favorite author that you felt like really inspired you? Epiphany. Well, yeah, Epiphany, then Tina.
Yes, so like my very first Christina C. Jones.
Oh, I am so sorry, guys. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, it was Christina C. Jones. She was the very first author that I really like picked up with my writing, and I was like, I just instantly just like fell in love with her writing. So, and then it was Kennedy Ryan after that. So those are my biggest two.
Okay, nice. And when you said they inspired you, like what about their writing did you really like? Like,
I love the way they pinned Black love, like how they wrote about relationships and the relationships between two people in a beautiful way. So I was like, oh, I like this. So that's like what inspired me to try my hand in like romance writing. So yeah.
okay, nice. Okay, Tina, and then Miss Little, and then Miss Pollen. Okay, maybe Miss Tina's not going, so maybe Miss Pollen, and then we'll go
Oh,
back. Okay, Tina's there. Okay, go ahead, Tina.
okay. So I don't have a lot of the how-tos because I'm new to obviously publishing, but since actually doing the work and actually doing, I did have a launch event. I've had several people that reached out and asked that specific question about, well, how did you go about writing? And everything I've said to each person has asked me, I said, just write it down because each of us all have a story. And whether we're writing a children's book or we're doing teenage fiction or we're even writing our memoir, I said, from my experience, just write down what are your main thoughts, and especially if it's fiction. My thought processes, my advice is then, make notes. Start carrying a notebook around. So when you have a thought and an idea, you write it down and you can go back and reference it later. I can't speak for other people, but for me, the writing process started with pen and paper and then it went to a computer. But it was a lot of handwritten notes of ideas and the formatting of the timeline. Similar to
Absolutely.
writing like a large paper, you're like, okay, well, what are my points? What are the things that I want to hit? So that's the main advice I've given to people so far is, start making your notes. There is no perfect right way to tell the story if it's your
Absolutely.
story.
I agree with that. That's yeah. Miss Pollen. I'm not sure, Miss Pollen. I don't
Oh, are you able
see.
to hear me now?
Yes, ma'am. We are.
Okay. Yes, I read Fred Crump when I was younger. My aunt bought me a bunch of books by him, and he rewrote the classics like Sleeping Beauty, Rapunzel, but all the characters were Black. So that really opened my eyes that books could have, characters that look like me. And then in high school, I started reading Walter D. Myers, and he writes young adult work. So I was really drawn to his characters and his strong writing. So those are two authors that definitely inspired me.
Absolutely, yes, that's important. Miss Harriet, did you have your hand raised?
Yeah, but I wanted to answer a different question.
Yeah, that's me.
The one that said, "How do you stay motivated to finish a book or project?"
Mm-hmm.
My daughter, I'm working on my first children's book, and my daughter, she was born premature, and she has a stutter, and so she had a very tough time in school, and so I wanted to write something to motivate her in her speech therapy and children that look like her, that are brown, that are beautiful, but also have some kind of disability, and I didn't see anything like that uh, for her story. And so I'm thinking, you know what? Sometimes if you want something done, you have to do it yourself.
Yes.
And so that passion that you see, well, this is lacking, you may be the answer to their problem. And I said, well, let me be the answer to her problem. And so I've been writing on it, and she's been telling me every day, it's been a year, Mom, and you still haven't finished. I said, look, I stopped and wrote 2 screenplays. You need to cut me a break. Then we went out for ice cream, but I'm done with it, and she's excited. But my daughter keeps me motivated to share her story and to use her voice.
Absolutely. Those little ones are great motivators.
Yes,
I
yes.
mean, about that up and sell it. Yeah, they really are. Okay, let's go to our next topic. Obstacles and challenges. And if you guys want to just, I don't want to go through each bullet. Like if you want to choose one and answer it, then that's totally fine. I'll start with the one about what are some misconceptions about being an author that you've encountered. So one thing I feel like a lot of people think like, oh, you're a writer, like it's easy for you to write. Actually, writing is a whole process. Like, it takes so much thought. I mean, you may have all the ideas, but there's so many ways, like you guys said, like you have to keep a notebook, reorganize things, lay it out. I literally, so my process, this is the book. You probably can't see it, but it's a binder for my manuscript, and I have broken things down. I'm kind of in the editing and revision process, and that's the part. I feel like in the beginning it's easy to just like brain dump the idea out, but when you're going back reading through it to make sure everything like aligns, especially mine is like a mystery thriller, so like I have to put the little clues and things together and make it so it is a whole process. I think that is a huge misconception that a lot of people think like for writers, it's an easy process, but actually it is a very tedious thing depending on the genre. Now, my other book, let me see if I can see, if y'all can see that. So like children's books for me, those are easy. I did that at the Park book in like a week. Like that's easy, but like a book that has a plot and like, you know, that takes so much time. It really does. Let's have Miss Wynn and then Landa.
Okay. I wanted to answer the how do you handle writer's block and self-doubt? For me, I've learned to embrace it. That was something that I had recently experienced was the writer's block and self-doubt. And then I want to say I ended up getting off of social media because some of that was I was consuming too much. So I got off social media thinking I was going to be off social media for like a month. It ended up turning into a few months, and in that amount of time I was just writing like crazy. After not writing for such a long time, it was just like, oh my god. And someone told me, you know, they said things are created in the void, and so if you don't have anything to write, that's okay. One thing that you can tell yourself is it's gonna come, the writing's gonna come, the writing's gonna come. And sure enough, it did. And it was like a flood. I was like, oh my god, couldn't stop writing after that point. So if you're just experiencing writer's block, it's okay. Don't stress about it, because that's just going to make it delay even further. Just embrace the time and do something else. Eventually it'll hit you and you won't be able to put it down. And so
Yeah. I thank you for that, because I have a book. I mean, do we have a timeline for writer's block? Because it's been about 10 years. Is that normal? And maybe that's procrastinating. I don't know, but I'm trying to embrace it. But it's for me. I don't know for you guys. I have to be in the mindset for a book like that. That's like a mystery thriller. It came from a place like something was a catalyst for that. And now that I'm not in that anymore, it's very hard for me to connect with it when I open it back up. But I really want to finish it because I really want Tyler Perry to make it into a series. So I really got to stay motivated. Landa Cole.
So the challenge that I have faced when writing a book is like, so I would write like 1, 2, or 3 pages at first, but then when I get to the next page or so, I overthink, and that stops me from writing my book, and I don't know what else to write, so then I just stop. But sometimes I would go back to it. It's like I'm stressed out because I'm overthinking it, and I should just like have time to write it down. Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anybody have any advice for this young lady about being overthinking the process when it comes to writing? Anybody for Pink Pansy Publishing?
Yeah. So when it comes to overthinking, you know, I'm an overthinker too. I say, you know, it's okay, you know, just
She might have had a little, I'm not sure. Are you there, Pink Pansy? Oh my god, what's happening? Well, it's okay, is what she said, is what we take from that. It's okay. Something more.
Just have fun with it. You know, when it comes to writing, write it the way you want to read it. You know, as long as it's something you want to read, somebody else going to want to read it too. Don't overthink it. Don't stress yourself out. You need to walk away from it and come back, do that. do something else. Like everybody said, do something else. Stop thinking about it for a while. Go back to it and let it flow out. Okay, just don't make yourself have a head full of gray hair before you get to turn 20. Okay, unless you want it, then you can die that way. Okay.
I love it. And I think it's so important. The beauty of writing and why it's important for everybody to write is because if you don't tell the story from your perspective, other people will tell that for you. So I think it's very important that in this space, a lot of us are brown, like, we should put our perspective on it because, like, I think it was, I can't remember who said it. I think it was maybe Epiphany, I'm not sure. But especially as a young reader, seeing yourself in those pages, I think is very important and can inspire other people as well. Miss Polland. We can't hear you, Miss Polland.
I'm responding to the first question. What has been the biggest challenge you face as a writer? For me, it's perception of others. So, wondering how people receive it, what the feedback will be, if they like it, things like that, which, are all normal as humans. We do seek validation in ways, and we want people to like what we're producing. But, along the journey, learning that the most important perspective is your own and making sure that you're writing for yourself and that you're okay, even if other people don't like it or they don't understand it or they don't appreciate it. So that's been a challenge. I actually just did a project here locally in Rochester. I am an essayist and I was paired with a local leader and I had to write like a mini bio on him. And I wanted to capture his essence, but I also had to think about the audience. So I think that's a challenge, just writing for yourself, but being okay if you're getting feedback that isn't positive or might not feel good.
Yes, because we'll definitely, everybody has an opinion, right? But as long as I agree with that, Miss Polland. Harriet and then Miss Kira.
Okay, the one where it says, have you ever received negative feedback and how did you deal with it? My first time receiving negative feedback, I didn't deal with it well. I was insulted. I wrote a great novel. I left it on the stage. I'm like, this is my best work ever. And someone read it and they're like, this has nothing to do with the subject. I was like, come on, this is my best work. I calmed down. I went back and reread it. It had nothing to do with the subject. I laughed about it because I'm like, I was so offended. I didn't take time to realize, okay, let me see what they see. And then I reread it and was like, you know what? This needs to be a lot better. So I had to listen. I had to reread my own stuff and realize, okay, I thought I left it out on the stage, but evidently some more pieces was left over there. Okay, so I needed to go back, fix it, be open-minded. And, if you love it, you love it. But I leave room for criticism because like someone told me, you're not selling to yourself, you're selling to your audience. And I was like, oh, okay, my audience, I forgot about that. And like one of your other ladies said, if you love what you do, they're going to love, like she told the young lady, if you love it, they're going to love it. So stay open to that negativity because it's going to be good, bad, and ugly. Everyone's not going to love us or our work. And that hurt my feelings, but it's true. Everyone's not going to love what we do. But some people are trying to help us and some are just being ugly. So if we know the difference and the ones that are like, you need to tighten this up here, you have a thick skin and be like, okay, let me tighten up, let me go on and work on it. And so I'm trying to be open-minded. And now I'm better when I get negativity. Okay, what is it that you see that I didn't see? So I'm open to it and let's see what happens.
Yeah. Beta readers are very important. I used to use like the Facebook groups for beta readers as well. And having a thick skin and open mind for criticism is I totally agree with that. Miss Kira Correa.
So for me personally, I'm a very private person. And so like a lot of people did like a launch party and all this, and I did not. The very few people that was close to me that knew that I was actually even writing and planning to publish a book did not encourage me. Actually, they did the complete opposite. So for me, my biggest obstacle was believing in myself and what my purpose was and what my motivation was and pushing through all the noise and the negativity and doing it anyway. So for me, I had given myself a goal because, as we all know, it's self-publishing, publishing period. It's costly. So I gave myself a goal. If I write 10 books, I'm going to publish one. And I lost track. And I ended up writing 11. So I'm like, nope, we're doing it. And so in 1 year, I released all 3 of my series. And I'm like, I'm going to do it or I'm not going to do it. And there's no option for me because my motivation is my son. And so I have to show him that, and kids everywhere, no matter what the negativity is, if you have a purpose, if you have a passion, you have a dream, go and pursue it. You know, if it's on your heart, it must be on somebody else's heart. And so I still struggle with the whole, you know, I'm not the greatest at social media. I had people say, you need to post, you need to post. And I'm like, I'm such a private person that it's to come out of that shell and to be in the spotlight is not me.
I
So
understand. Yeah.
that was like my biggest hurdle, and we all deal with that self-doubt, but overcoming it and finding your village, finding your community, and then when you finally get to that point where it's like, I did it, the love that you feel in yourself, that accomplishment, no one can take that away from you. And so when these people come with their hater, it's like, but guess what? So that, for me, that was my biggest challenge and biggest hurdle. And every day is still a challenge, right? As we all know as writers. But just continuing to overcome it is one thing that we have to stay focused on.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with it's very hard. Like literally people thought I was mute in high school. So the fact that I'm doing this right now is crazy. But yeah, but having a village to uplift you and, you know, motivate you, inspire you, like you wonderful ladies, is very helpful. But yeah, social media is a very powerful tool. I think in like the last topic when we talk about marketing, we'll definitely touch on that. So let's have Pink Pansy and then Tiffany, and then we're gonna go to the next topic.
Yeah, y'all, I apologize. My computer died on me unexpectedly. Yeah, but I was saying, like, when it comes to overthinking, I think some level of overthinking is natural simply because you have to convince the reader that a person who does not exist, they don't exist, but you have to convince the reader that they have not only a personality, but a past that extends beyond the page in front of them. And that is a lot to think about. But my best advice is if something, character development specifically, if something is preventing you from moving forward, you highlight it and you come back to it in the revisions phase, because that's what that's for. So, you know, just it's good to have a system or to be developing a system as you go on.
That's a good tip, the highlighting. I love highlighters. Tiffany.
Okay, I just wanted to share my dedication page. I would like to dedicate this book to each and every person in my life that doubted me. Your hatred, doubt, and cruel words all fueled me to prove you wrong. So thank you from the bottom of my deep, dark, and loving soul. That's in my first book.
Tiffany, please put your handles. We have to follow her, guys. She's hilarious. I love her. Hey, listen, your haters are your best motivators sometimes. They really can fuel you. They really can. I love that. That's so funny to open up the book. Can you imagine opening the book and as a hater, because you know they bought it in secret and they're reading it. That's hilarious. I love it. Okay. Let's go. Okay, let me go to our next topic. Wait a minute. That's topic 3. Okay, publishing. Okay, because I know we have people who are self-published and we have people who have said that they were traditionally published. So this will be great. For me personally, I'll just say I've self-published all of my books. Now, my baby that I've been working on for over 10 years, I'm debating on having that one traditionally published. Only because like I said, I really want Tyler Perry to make that a series. So I'll let you ladies go ahead and take the floor and talk about publishing 101, everything that y'all want to talk about, which will be interesting because I know with the whole DEI stuff, some people are boycotting Amazon, which a lot of us use. So I don't know if y'all want to talk about that as well. So, I'll let y'all take it away. Anybody want to talk about publishing? If you have any questions about publishing, this will be a great. I mean, because it's so broad. That topic of publishing is so.
Well, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So I did tell you guys that I just released my book today, and they approved the ebook part, and then they said that the paper needed like some revision or something on the first page.
Okay.
And so I went back and did it. I think it was the ISBN, but they didn't specify. So have you guys ever experienced that? I don't know what it could be.
Which do you want to tell us which platform you're using?
KDP.
KDP, okay. And you said so. Yeah, they can be really picky sometimes. I would say like if y'all have a guide, anybody have a guide on guiding people through the KDP process, because it does vary from ebook to paper. Let's have Tiffany. We haven't heard from Tiffany in a while. Tiffany, go ahead and say what you're saying. Well, first of all, Tiffany, are you answering her question, or are you?
Well,
Whoever
I mean,
wants
I can, because I was
Okay.
part of what I was going to say anyway.
Okay.
So the last children's book that I just did on KDP took a month to get it approved, because they kept kicking it back for little stuff, and then you would fix the little stuff, and then they say, "Oh, well, now fix this," and so it can become very frustrating. All I can say is you have to stay the course, because it does all of a sudden you get that your book is ready to be approved email, and it makes everything all better. Like it's kind of like birth, you forget the pain. So I would say just keep submitting. We did end up having to call um them and have him, the guy specifically told us A, B, and C, and then we fixed that, and then there was still one little thing, and we went back and fixed that after that. So but it did take about a month to do it. And that was with all. I've had more trouble with the children's books. I don't know if that's the illustrations part of it, than the actual paper books. Um my women's devotional that I published, and I am self-published. Um it only got kicked back once. So seemed to be better with the wordy things than with the illustration things. Although there are some illustrations on the actual page of the devotional, it's not a fully illustrated book. So I would just say make sure you have them call you. They can call you. They will walk you through. They'll say, "We see this," and you may not see it on your end, but if they see it on their end, they're not going to approve it. But stay the course. It's so worth it.
Yeah. Miss Tina and then Miss Wynn.
So I actually had two questions that anyone could jump in. So I hear a lot of language about indie authors, self-publishing, small publisher, traditional publishing. So my question to the group is, so what is the difference between an indie author and a self-published author? Because literally coming into this, I thought they were the same thing. Can anyone answer that?
That's a good question, because I thought it was too. Is there a difference, guys, from what y'all know?
I think I can answer that, because I've always thought it was the same thing too. But recently, I'm hearing more self-published authors like they're doing everything. I mean, everything. The hard work. I mean, the editing. Like they're doing it all. And I'm an indie author, which means which is kind of. I mean, they are like twins, maybe fraternal twins. But I'm also with like a company, so they do the heavy lifting for me, and it's like I guess a co-relationship. There's even a name for it, but I'm with Writers Republic, so they get my copyright. They provide editing. Of course, I pay them. They do the cover. Like they do a lot of those things that I don't have nearly enough time to do, besides pulling my hair out trying to do everything myself. So it's like you kind of link with another company that's willing to do the heavy lifting for you. But most of the self-publishing, and I have a book that's self-published, I mean, they're doing everything. I'm like, girl, I've been and lost all my braids trying to do it all myself. And I think I lost about 14 last time. So that's what I think the difference is as an indie author, getting someone to do kind of the heavier lifting versus self-publishing, which most of them are doing it all. And that's a lot of work.
So and the reason it came up to me, because of course I'm trying to get my book in, because I personally work with a small publisher out of Mississippi, and I have it on some of the big brands. It's at Amazon, Walmart, Barnes and Noble. But I definitely want my book in Black booksellers, small bookstores like that. And that's been some of the pushback and responses I received. Oh, we don't do indie authors, or we only do indie authors. So it literally is like bouncing. I'm like, wait a minute. So which route do we need to go to get into these smaller booksellers?
That is a good. Oh my God, I don't know if it was like aligned, but I have a PDF guide as a little gift for you guys. And it's literally specifically how to get your books in a bookstore and in libraries. I was supposed to have Miss Vera and Miss Jennifer from Community Book Center in New Orleans, Louisiana, a staple there, come on and talk to you. They own a bookstore and it's been around for like a long time. My dad used to take us there as a child. And they were going to come on and talk, because I've had my books in their bookstore. One thing I would say is, like, if you contact them, find some of the smaller bookstores, and I feel like once you get your book in those stores, you can kind of use that as leverage to talk to the bigger companies. But I will definitely email you guys that guide. But it's just communication and networking. You know, it's about who you know, and then. But we'll go into more of that. Does anybody else want to answer that, or let's have Miss Wynn, because I know you had your hand raised a while.
Yeah, I wanted to really talk about what I wish I would have known before publishing my first book back in 2014. So I started out as an editor, which that was one of the steps that I did not take. So talk about feedback and reviews. Most of my reviews said edit. You missed a whole lot of editing. And so y'all don't skip that step. That's an area, especially if you're paying for services, save up. Don't play around with the editing. Like, it's not that can make or break your book, for real. If your book is poorly written because of grammar or typos, or you spell this person's name 5 different ways, like that's,
because they'll catch it. They will catch it
for sure. And then also formatting. If you're not tech savvy, I would say hire help. You don't have to do everything yourself. I know a lot of self-published authors take pride in their skills and what they've learned, but I'm not gonna lie. I've purchased a lot of self-published work, and I wish that they would have asked for help, because it takes away from the story. If your book does not look professional, if it looks like it's all homemade, it takes away from the reader's experience. And so consider the reader, consider their experience with your book, and make sure, we all have access, or most of us have access to a library where we can pick up books and compare our books to other works that's out there and see how it looks. Definitely take the time to do your research for sure. And so I'll just end there. I could go on, but yeah, I'll end there.
You put stuff in the chat too, guys. I don't know if Tiffany's, I don't know who was first. Was it Town? I don't know who was first. I want to say Towns, maybe. I don't know. But go ahead, Miss Towns. I can't put a little more time on there. Miss Towns, you want to go first? Tiffany Towns, or okay, Miss Moore.
I didn't have my hand raised this time.
Oh, okay.
Not on purpose. I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead, Miss Moore.
One thing I do tell people to do, like when I do covers and stuff like that, go to your book, and you know how the subgenres are down there when you go on Amazon. Click on it. Look at the top 10 or the top 20 books. Look at their covers. See how it compares to yours. People always try to say, don't judge book by its cover. That's the first thing people gonna look at is your cover. So if yours looking like it's looking like it's supposed to be romantic comedy or something like that, and you going for paranormal, that ain't gonna work. They're not gonna pick up your book. They're gonna pick up the other book next to it. And self-publishing, I do that. And you a lot of self-publishers, we got control issues where you want to be the only one doing this, doing that, doing this. Even if you are the only one doing it, I have an editor too. Now, she says she does get in mind, it's not that much to clean up, but it's still, like she said, it's not that much to clean up, but it's still some stuff in there that she has to go in there and clean up. You're not going to catch all your own stuff, you know.
Ego, I think that like some, because as a writer sometimes you play God, and it's like ego can be a big hindrance. We gotta, like y'all said, see from the reader's perspective. Miss Little or Miss Pollen, y'all, it's hard for me to keep up with who was first. Was it Miss Little, guys? I don't know. Well, let's let Miss Little go because we haven't heard from you a lot, Miss Little. So go ahead, Miss Little.
Okay, so I am signed to a publisher. I started writing my first book in 2019. I've always been an avid reader since early 2000s. I started off with Keisha Irvin, Eric Jerome Dickey, and all those. So over time, I was, in college, had kids, things like that, and decided to get back into reading. And when I went back, I used to start off with, library books and ordering from like the magazines. So when I went on Amazon and saw all the books, I was kind of like, oh, wow. Like it was, a lot. So I'm like, reading these books and I'm like, okay, well, I think I could write a book. Like it's about that time. Like I've been writing since high school. One of my English teachers told me I can always be an author. So, I started writing the book. I started off just in Google Docs. So it could be across like at my work computer, personal, and I'll just go back writing little by little. And then once I got to about 5 chapters, I started sending it to publishers. And what I want to say is do your due diligence when you're looking for publishers as well, because I was just excited like to send my books. I sent it to 3. So I sent one to Keisha Irvin when she had hers, and then I sent it to Jacquel J. And then I had sent it to another one. I'm not going to say any names, but one of them got back to me first, and something like, I don't know, like I just, put it off a little bit because I didn't, I just put it off. And then I ended up signing with Jacquel. And then a few months later, it was like this whole big thing in the whole publishing world. I don't know if anyone heard of it, but like people's books were being held and they weren't able to make money. So I would just say always like look into publishing companies as well. Don't just think because they have all these authors releasing books, you see all these nice covers and stuff like that. Make sure you go and look at the person who owns the company to make sure you're not signing your life away, because technically they own some of your work.
Kind of like musicians. We hear about that in the music world where like artists put out stuff. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
That's just a piece of advice. Yeah.
Thank you. Please let us know. Okay. Miss Polland. One more time, Miss Polland.
Yes, as an editor, there's a question about like what's important for the editing process. I think that was question 3. What are some must-know tips for working with editors? So in that process, it's important to have a conversation with the editor before you work with them. I know some people skip that. They, send their sample, they get the edit, and then they move on. But for me, I always have a consultation with my clients beforehand, just to have a conversation about, their expectations, the turnaround time, the goal of writing the book or the motivation, who they're writing for. So during that time, you're getting to know the author and seeing if it will be a good working relationship, because you might meet an editor who looks good on the website and things like that, but then you get their sample edit and it doesn't meet your standards, or they say something during the call that gives you that makes you hesitant. Maybe they make a comment about anything really. You're writing about something in your book and then they express an opinion the opposite of what you're writing about. So you might run into an editor who has a bias against what you're writing, and that may come out in their edits. So you just want to be really careful and diligent when you are selecting your editors, even if it's like a well-known editor and people work with them or they have really good reviews. All of that is great and you want to see that, but that doesn't replace your connection to the editor. They're going to be working on your on your, personal, whatever, fiction, nonfiction. So I would definitely encourage you to have at least one conversation before there's any contract or invoice involved. And that also saves the editor as well. Sometimes I get red flags in the consultation where I'm like, okay, this isn't going to be a good fit for me, and I might have to pass on a client. So again, it's really important for you to have that intro call to make sure it's a good fit, not just for the author, but also the editor.
Yeah, I definitely, I've done, what is it called? Like when you take work or whatever, and I'm not taking any more right now because this last person just stressed me out. I need a break. Okay, Pink Pansy, and then we're gonna go to our last topic, and we'll have our Q&A.
Okay, so I kind of have a tip and I have a question. So the tip first, it's my tip is learn how to be a really good self-editor. And I'm not saying don't hire an editor. That is not what I'm saying at all. But do have a system for going through your work and making sure everything is good. And I like to tell people, because I use Microsoft Word. If you don't, you may not see this feature, but in Microsoft Word, they have the immersive reading tool. So what I like to do is I like to open up my story in two windows. So in one window, I have the immersive reading tool reading my story. In the other window, I am following along with my eyes. You would be surprised at how much you catch that way. It's awkward phrasing, repeated words, misspelled things, homonym. It catches everything because it forces you to slow down. But my question is, how do you handle when an editor is completely changing like your character voice? Because I know I've had that happen. I got a sample edit and the editor was going through and she was, changing things that were obviously, well, obvious to me, intentional about just how the character talks. Everybody does not speak 100% proper English all the time. And a lot of the fragments were like slang, different things like that.
I was literally going to bring that up to Miss Pollen because AAVE, like if it's a person who's not used to that, no, this is what I meant the first time. Miss Pollen, you want to talk about that since you're an editor?
Yeah, so a lot of the time when I have my intro or consultation call, that will come up. So they will say, I wrote this character and they're from the hood and they're going to be using XYZ, or I'll see it in the sample edit. As a Black woman, it's natural for me to read that and speak that. So I've never really changed it. So I think because I'm a Black woman, that's a different experience than if I was a white editor. But if there's something in the manuscript that is confusing to me, I don't understand, or even right now I'm working on the manuscript where the author is writing some of it in Haitian language. I don't use English, Haitian. I don't speak Haitian. I don't understand it. So I recommend that he find maybe a sensitivity reader to read those parts specifically, or someone who's native to review that, since I'm not able to give him that direct feedback. But part of the reason I became an editor was to make sure that the way that we write is upheld and respected and valued. So I'm very intentional about leaving that in there. But for those of you who have encountered that, I always tell my authors, this is your book, not mine. I'm here to help you. I want it to be the best it can be. I will give you recommendations, ideas, but at the end of the day, the author can always say no. So I can't remember who asked that question, but you can always say to the editor, this wasn't really what I'm looking for. I want this character to maintain this voice. He or she is from New Orleans, and yes, they're going to say baby 17 times. Please don't take that out. So you do have the right to push back. And, if the editor doesn't understand that, is not able to do that, then you can move on and look for another editor who can meet what you're looking for.
And I like how you didn't just, as in your profession as the editor, you didn't just give up completely. You said, well, for that little part. I think a lot of the times we can't do it. We're not publishing no more because that little part. No, we can still do that. Okay, it's 4:12. Let's go to our last topic. Hold on one second. Okay, the last one is marketing, which is the part that I really like in this whole process. Does anybody want to share any marketing tips or questions? Miss Wynn?
Yeah, a specific tip. I just have just some broad advice. To keep in mind that marketing compounds. Every action, every step that you take, every post that you make, give yourself time, especially if you're just doing everything organically. Organic is the slowest method of marketing there is, baby. If you got $5 extra, if you got $20 extra, go ahead and start learning how to create advertising and invest some money into your marketing for real. Also, especially if you're thinking about getting funding, possible funding from like your bank to help you with your books, which I've had authors in the past do that. They want to see how you're going to use that money. So if you're advertising, if you're paying for ads, you can show proof. You can say, oh, I started with 5 sales. Well, I advertised my book. I put $100 behind my book and my book sold X amount of time. So if you give me $1,000, my book is going to sell this many times. So if you give me they want to see proof. And so I will land my plane there. I'm very passionate about this, but I will land my plane there. Just understand that it compounds. Don't feel no type of way if your book is not selling. Also keep in mind that USA bestsellers who make that list, they have an upwards of 30 plus books. So if you just got book 1, book 2, book 3, and it's not selling, keep writing, keep publishing, keep going. This is a long game that you're getting into. So just ride the wave, but don't be discouraged by marketing. And I'll stop there
because that could be a whole separate webinar, baby. But I would say understand as well, writing and being an author is a completely separate component of being marketing. So I would say if you think of if your book is a business, marketing, the more money you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. So I would say that if you're going to outsource a certain portion of this process, definitely marketing. Thankfully, and I will say my first book, when I was a stay-at-home mom, and when I put that coloring book out, the Brilliant Beautiful Me books, I had social media. At that time, it wasn't as hot like it was now. So I was gaining a lot of traction and leads, and it was great. So I highly recommend social media, specifically Instagram. A lot of my sales came from Instagram, building up those followers. I'll digress. Pink Pansy and then Christina Booth.
Okay, so I just want to say, like, marketing is a lot of things. It is not solely social media. Social media is just one part of it. Marketing has 4 P's. So that's price, packaging, place, and product. So your product is your book. Your packaging, that's your cover, that's your formatting, even, because formatting can sell a book. Your packaging, so your mailers, whatever you're putting into those mailers, if you're having a book swag, anything like that. Place, where are you putting it? Are you putting it on Amazon, your website, bookstores? And they all work together in tandem, and you just really need to be strategic about every single step of the process. If you really think about every single step of the user experience, from when someone hits the add to cart button all the way to the unboxing experience, then you'll have a good experience and you will retain those customers. And I also want to say TikTok is really changing the game. It has changed the game as far as publishing. I know I have made sales off platform using TikTok. I mean, I do live readings. So if you're monetized on TikTok, if you're able to go live, try live readings. It's a great way to just interact with people, have people interested in your story, and engage with people in a genuine way that are interested in reading your book.
Okay, I might have to re-download TikTok, because once that thing happened, I deleted TikTok, but I might have to get back on there. Okay, Miss Booth.
Yeah, I think now, speaking as an indie, something I learned the hard way is that you have to show yourself a lot of grace. As an author, I mean, unless you happen to be like a marketing expert and you've studied it and you kind of know how to navigate it, I feel like you're a creative and you didn't get into writing because you wanted to like market all the time. You really got into writing to write books. So I think you have to show yourself a lot of grace when things don't work out, because you have to understand that as has been said, it's a long game process. Word of mouth is probably your most powerful marketing tool, and I feel like you can't really hack word of mouth. Like it's organic, and it's just when it happens, it happens. But it's not something that I feel like you can like force to happen. And I also would say to not really feel, and I'm really speaking to like indies and stuff, and maybe even trad pub authors, not to feel pressure to like market like an influencer. I think there's a lot of great things about TikTok, but I think the other side of TikTok is that, and I'm just picking on TikTok, is that everybody feels like they have to be like an influencer now. And I'm like, influencing and doing that sort of style of like making videos and reaching audiences is a very specific thing. Like if it works for you, that's fine, but you don't have to be an influencer. You don't have to be glued to your phone. Having a marketing plan and using tools to create like pre-planned posts and things like that to make it very easy for yourself is really good. But like, yeah, just to show yourself just a lot of grace. Like it's not easy, and having a backlist is also one of the most powerful things that's gonna really put your book out there, and that takes time. So yeah.
Yeah, you can do a lot of things, guys. We can't do everything. So get help, okay? Jazz and Prose, we're here to help you guys get your stuff out. After this, we're going to go into where you guys are going to, talk about your books and stuff like that. But yeah, it can be a lot, and it takes a lot of energy. The YouTubers, it's a full-time job. My light just went out. Like it's a lot to take in when you're trying to market. And yes, it can be like a rabbit hole trying to be an influencer, like just, I gotta do, it can take over your whole day. So yeah, it is a lot, and it is a business. And that's why a lot of people do go the traditional publishing route, because they just want to write. I just want to write. I don't want to have to do all the other stuff. Okay, Miss Phillips.
Hi, so I just had a quick question. So since I've been writing and since I wrote the book and started publishing, I get a lot of, well, not a lot. I see where you can submit yourself for awards. Is that something that we should be doing? I don't know if other people have seen that. Like it'll come through Readsy and different platforms like that where you can submit for, fiction, nonfiction, award, things like that. Are these something that we should be doing as writers?
Yeah, I mean, I think like for me, creating Jazz and Prose, it's an outlet, it's a source, and I feel like if we think about like people who boycott the big awards like BET, or like not BET, but I can't, like the Grammys, like some people, they don't, like musicians, they don't, I'm not going to do that. But creating your own platform, I feel like is a great way to give the shine, the outlight, the highlight voice to the people in our community. So I'm not sure, Ms. Phillips, if it's a specific platform that's giving away the awards, but I think that's a great idea. Has anybody else heard of that?
I've certainly heard of it before. I can't think of the name of the platform off the top of my head, but there are certainly platforms that specifically create awards, and you can definitely apply for those awards. The specific one I'm thinking of, it does have a free plan, but there are other paid plans where you could submit to more awards, things like that. Now, as far as the ROI, I don't know. I can't speak to it. I've never done it myself, but also just kind of being a lurker in readers' spaces, they don't seem to care about that much. They just want to know if it's in their preferred genre with the preferred tropes that they like.
Yeah. Miss Wynn.
Yeah, I wanted to answer that question. So one, if you're gonna apply for an award, I would consider the award host's reputation. Like, do a little bit of research on them, especially if you're paying for something. Check out their followers. Check out, okay, if I win this award, how much exposure, what am I going to get from this? I also think you have to consider just your personal goals. Like, what is this award going to do for me? Does this add to my authority as an author? Is this award something that's going to help me become a further speaker? Can this be something that later can help me, despite the host's reputation. Like, really consider it. I know I'm a part of IBPA, Independent Book Publishers Association, and they have awards every year that would be worth applying to and getting involved with, just because they're a well-known association. And that would be something, especially if, down the road, it's, your desire to become a speaker, you want to sell your books as a speaker, blah, 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 that kind of thing, then absolutely. But do some research on the award hosts, and then consider what your goal is for, okay, how are you going to use this award should you win it? Is this going to be, is this just, or, that kind of thing. And so,
yeah, you always want a return on your investment. You want to see that. Okay, I feel like we should go into giving you guys the author spotlight, because I do want to respect time. I knew we weren't going to be exactly at 4:30, but at this point, I'm going to minimize the screen so that it's bigger. So you guys, if you have your books and stuff, you want to hold it up. So if you want to, spotlight your book, we'll do the raise your hand feature, and you can talk about your book, where we can find you. Make sure y'all are putting stuff in the chat. This has been great so far. This is the last portion. So let's just go ahead and get into it to respect time. Let me stop sharing. Okay. All right. So Miss Tina, I see you have your hands up. If you want to go first and tell us about yourself, your book, where we can find you.
Okay. So again, I am Tina. I'm signed as author T.L. Phillips. So I wanted to share my book. So this was my original cover, because someone mentioned packaging, and when it went to the publisher, they had cropped it out, because I live in Hawaii. So of course the scenery was a lot, but this was my final draft of the cover.
Okay. Are you sharing your screen? Because can y'all see it? I can't see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on.
Can y'all see me?
No, we can't see you. But let's see. If not, utilize the chat, guys. Utilize the chat. Follow us on socials too. So I'm gonna share this whole thing with you guys afterwards.
Oh, y'all can't see me?
No, we can't see you, Miss Tina.
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, my camera
It's not working. Well, we'll come back.
Yeah.
We can come back to you. Miss Town. Okay. Yeah.
Just showing my face for a minute. Maybe is it showing? Oh, there I am. Hi. This is my newest book. Called Zuri's Magic. It's on Amazon. I also have copies here, but I also am an author of the other book I have here is my women's devotional. This is me as lead author on with a few other young ladies. I formatted it, did all the editing, all the things on that as well. I also have 2 romance novels, I Wish I Had Never and I Thought I Had Never. They're a series. So you read I Wish first and then I Thought. And then I have 2 other children's books, Jackson and Amaya series called the Power series is they learn the power of yet and they learn the power of kindness. And those are geared towards children as well. So they're all available on Amazon, all of them, and I'm pretty proud of them. Again, I am self-published, and I also have a company, Purpose Focused Productions, LLC, where I do publishing and help people through the formatting process as well.
Love that. Make sure you put your information in the chat, Miss Towns.
Okay.
I'm gonna go in order. Miss Little, she's the first one on my screen. I don't know about for y'all's screen, but Miss Little.
Okay, like I said, I write urban fiction and urban romance. I have 10 published books. I am working on this. Well, this is part 1, Silly of Me, Destiny Bashar. I was listening to Denise Williams' Silly of Me, going through postpartum depression, and let me just write a character, because all my female characters are like strong. So I'm like, let me just write one where she's a little, foolish over her guy. That's this. And then I have Wife of a Crime Boss that I'm working on. I have writer's block. So this one I started 5 years ago almost. So, and then I have my first series ever is a Bridgeport love story, because I'm from Connecticut. So I just did a story based out of here. And then I have another series, I Gave You My Heart. And all my books are available on Amazon, But recently, with the pushback and the DI, I launched my own website. So I'm gonna try to go from there and do everything from home.
Okay, nice. Make sure y'all are putting y'all socials so we can follow each other and stay up to date. Nice, Miss Little. Miss Johnson.
Okay, so mine is Forgive, Heal, Restore. I'm a woman's guide to a renewed heart. It's available for purchase ebook on Kindle as of right now, and we're working on getting a paper book. It is also an interactive journal. So after each section, there is like a guided, biblically based, like guided portion where you can just kind of journal your thoughts, and it's going to be based off of that topic for the day. And I'll place all of my information in the chat. Thank you.
Okay, nice. Miss Phillips, were you next? I don't see your hand raised, but you're next on my.
Are you able to see me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. So my book is Revenge of a Broken Heart, and you had mentioned it was mentioned about packaging. So I had wanted to share my first copy that was given to me by the publisher, and it was cropped out because I'm in Hawaii. So of course the background is important. So that was the final. So this was the first cover, and I just want to share the difference.
Really nice.
Because
Yeah.
I thought it was a huge difference when they had cropped all that out. I thought it made a huge difference. And when the photographer got involved, so even if you can see the coloring difference, I was like, wait a minute, what happened to the color? How it was real dull versus the actual color. And even with the when the photographer got involved, they were like, wait a minute, why are they covering up your feet? So that was the first back cover. And then it was re-edited to change how the picture looked. Now, granted, like I said, I'm new to this, but from what the publisher did, and then when the photographer was like, "Wait a minute, they need to fix this," so they got involved. So I'm available at Barnes and Noble, Walmart, and Amazon, and also I put in the chat my landing page for those who wanted an autograph copy as well. So it's a great experience. Revenge of a Broken Heart. It's a memoir. And just to share real quick, when I did the editing piece, I did give it to someone else because I think editing is brutal. And it was, of course, make sure there are no holes in the story that people understood.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for
Lovely.
having me today.
Thank you. I'm so glad all of you guys showed up. Love that. It's important to fight for your vision. Miss Mormon. Are you talking, Miss Mormon? Because you're okay.
I'm trying to. Well, this is the only one I got on me right now. That's the first one in the series. I'm trying to get. Well, I put this background on. So, can y'all see it?
Kind of, yeah. But you put your stuff in the chat too, right? Your info, so we can.
Yeah, I did. I put it in there again in a minute. Let me turn off this.
What is the book about?
Witch Wars is the first one in the Underlay series. It's about three sister witches. They two of them learned that they actually twins. They didn't know about each other. They half vampire, half witch. The one that's half vampire, the one that's mostly vampire went with the dad, who's the vampire. The one that's mostly witch went with the mom. And it wasn't until she started transitioning and everything that they learned the truth about each other. And a whole lot of other stuff. So we got vampires, witches, werewolves, anything you can think of is in there. All my stories is pretty much based on underlays. It's like I said, I wanted the paranormal world, and I wanted where we were, reflected to. So it's some of every race in there, not just okay, let's show this person for a sentence or two, and then kill them off or something. It's not like that. I do a lot of live events, and so I make sure when you do a live event, make sure you take something that's got your information on it. Like on the back, it's got the QR code. I even got this last one. I made some M&M tubes, and so you got the M&Ms, and then on here you got the QR code too. Because even when you do events, even if they don't buy the print books, they got your information. They will go back and buy those, the books and stuff. So any marketing opportunity, take it and climb on it.
Love that. Thank you, Miss Mormon. We
You're
love that.
welcome.
Miss Kiera. Hold on.
So as mentioned, mine is career options. So the first one is Alexander the dentist. The second one was inspired by my dad, Alexander the automotive mechanic. And then the third one is Alexander the master woodmaker, which was inspired by a teacher. So they're all inspired by somebody that kind of shows the kids their passions and all that. And for now, it is on my personal website, Creations by KC. And to encourage kids and parents to go to the library, I also have library bags as well.
Okay, nice. Love that. The kids really need to see that. So I'm excited to check those out. Thank you. Miss Pink Pansy Publishing.
Okay, so this book, Family Ties, it's the first. I don't know if y'all can see that. Here's I can read it. But okay, well, where it is, it's right here.
There you go.
So, okay, so it is. I like to say it's almost like a mafia romance and a supernatural thriller had a baby, and that is what this book is. So it's a Christian book. So it's told from a Christian perspective. It's about a satanic gang member who meets a Christian woman before coming to Christ himself. So it has, just different things, SRA, witchcraft, all kinds of stuff. But the ultimate message is that anyone can have redemption. Anybody can be delivered, and that's the ultimate message of this book. So it can be found on Barnes and Noble, we found on Amazon, or my website, pinkpansypublishing.com.
Love that. Love that. These are so interesting. Okay, Miss Wynn.
Okay, I don't have my book with me. I have a ton of books around here, but not mine. But I will say my book is called Shut Up and Let Me Cry. It's about addressing cliches and how sometimes, especially if you're a healer or if you've worked in the mental health field, how we're so quick to offer advice, and sometimes what people really need to kick off or spark their healing is for us to really be quiet and give them room to cry and express their feelings. In it, I share my perspective on both ends of the spectrum, being someone who has worked in the healing space, but also someone who is, because I worked in that space, I'm around a lot of encouragers, and I'm in a season where I need my encouragers to shut up and let me cry when I'm going through things. And so those my friends that know me know, like, it comes from a place of love. I know that can sound very rude, but it's also a part of who I am. And so readers will get to meet me and they will see that part of me, but they will also hopefully, maybe not, feel that it comes from a place of love, just offering different perspectives. This book is me leaning into my purpose, which is to offer different perspectives to help the community grow. And so thank you so much for this platform. And it's on pre-order. I did drop the link. It's on pre-order at winpublications.com. It will be available April 10th. And so.
Okay, nice. Good. I was going to say, where can we find it? Okay, great. And a very catchy title. Very catchy. Okay, thank you, Miss Landa Cole.
Hello. Okay, so the book that I wrote, it was inspired for me to write it for the kids. Oh, child, hold on, let me see. How do you take this stuff off? Well, I don't know how to take it off, but anyway, it's called Mobile Home Adventures. Is basically giving kids another option when they see their parents in the entrepreneur space to learn how to think outside the box and do something else besides a 9-to-5. So it's basically giving them a different way to look at stuff through mobile home investing. So fixing and flipping mobile homes with their parents, or learning how to wholesale them. You fix them up, you buy them for a really cheap price, and then you sell them for 3 times that. Just giving them other ideas of how to get into the entrepreneurial space. And then the back of it, It has like mobile home flashcards that just teaches them different mobile home investing terms in the real estate space.
Love that. I love that. Kids that we definitely need to teach them different venues and ways to make money. So love that. And where can we find it?
I did drop it in the notes chat box. It's on Amazon.
Okay, great. Okay, great. Miss Harriet. We can't hear you, Miss Harriet.
So sorry. Okay, my book is called By This Time Next Year, and it's the first in a trilogy. So all of my books on Amazon, but it's urban faith-based romance. I didn't know it was such a thing, but evidently it is. And my main character, her name is Secret. She's a Christian. She's loud. She's sassy. She's fiery. She likes to fight a little bit. She keeps some cars because that's what it is. She's on her path to getting completely straightened out. Okay. And so Christians are not perfect. And she has all the fire that she needs as a beautiful young Black woman. And so she is on a journey. Her husband is murdered. She finds out she's pregnant the day of his funeral. So as you can imagine, the horror, the terror, she's just terrified. So he leaves her a box to say, if I ever get killed, he's a fallen officer. If something happens to me, you can only open this if I die. And so in that beautiful box is 5 things that she must do by that same time next year. She has no idea what's in these envelopes. It takes her on a journey of faith, of love, of forgiveness, like a whole bunch of stuff. And so by that same time next year, she's in a completely different place in her life, a happy place, a good place. But it is a journey of grief, love, sacrifice, all of it. So that's what my book is about. It is on Amazon. You can go to my website, harrietpatrickbarron.com, Barnes and Nobles, so all that good stuff.
Wow, love that. That's a very good plot. I love that. Miss Kiera, I think you went already. Now your hand, I'm looking at whose hands is still raised. Do we have anyone else who needs to share? Okay, ESM.
Okay, my book is, yes, see it, Towels in Daegu. It takes place in Daegu, South Korea, and it follows the story of Darnell Harris, who he's a teacher in South Korea, and he's thriving socially, romantically, professionally, but he is struggling with family obligations. They want him to come home, and then he encounters 2 women, and he's kind of forced to mature and decide like if settling down is worth it to him, considering he's like thriving romantically. He never really had a reason to settle down, but now he's exploring those options, and it's about his journey to like kind of like self-love and just like being mature and making the right decisions.
That's
And you
interesting.
can find it on Amazon.
Okay, that's very interesting. I could see a lot of these as like a movie or Netflix. So, okay, do we have anybody else that needs to share their stuff? Okay, well, make sure you guys have your stuff in the chat. This was amazing. I mean, it went beautifully. If y'all have feedback, y'all have my emails. You can definitely email me, glows, grows, things for next time. Shout out to the Facebook groups, because that's where I put this, in there, and you guys was like, oh yeah, I want to do it. So I'm glad that it went well. That's about it. Any other questions before we go? It's recorded, so I'll definitely have it available for you guys to share out. Okay, this was great. Thank you all so much for coming. I'm going to share this again. Do we have a hand raised or no? Okay. No? All right. All right, ladies. Let me go here. Make sure y'all share and follow everybody that's there.
Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.